the Never Seen It podcast, the only podcast called Never Seen It that's worth listening to. With us tonight, Mr. Alex Callego, a.k.a. Filipino Grigio, a.k.a. Daily Dares, Mr. Chris, a.k.a. Milkman America, Mr. Ghost Nerd 88, a.k.a. Justin Holden, and then there's me, Adrian Delatore, a.k.a. Boots Too Big, on the Never Seen It podcast. And tonight we're talking about the 2025 horror movie, Weapons.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
Logline. Last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Mrs. Gandy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and never came back. When all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanished on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind the disappearance. Starring the Silver Surfer herself, and the breakout star from Ozark, Julia Garner, Mr. Purple Snapfingers Man, Josh Brolin, who's also in The Goonies, of course, Team U Han Solo, aka Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Benedict Wong, Amy Madigan, which we'll get into her performance. And yeah, that's the log line to Weapons. So obviously this is a new movie. All of us hadn't seen it prior to very recently, I'm guessing. And yeah, Weapons. Was it my movie? Did I choose this movie? I feel like it was me, right, Alex?
Yeah, you was yours.
Yeah, and I chose it because it's like the talk of the town for pretty much since its release, and it's got so much hype.
The ball.
The bell of the
Bell
ball.
of the ball.
I had to watch it myself to see what all the hype was about, and I have to say, for the first time in a long time, I think this, I've watched a movie that actually lives up to all the hype. So yeah, but I want to hear what you guys think, because I've watched it twice now. And Chris, I'll start with you. I mean, Weapons. Did you go in blind like I did? What was your perception of Weapons before you watched it?
Yeah, I went in blind. So little backstory. I don't like horror movies or like crime movies involving children or women. And so at first, like, you see all the trailers of like the kids running. I'm like, I don't know if I can watch that. Like, I still haven't watched Black Phone. And so when it came to this movie, I was like, I don't know if I can watch that one. Like, it really, that might bother me. But a couple of people were like, I know you, I know what you don't do and don't like, and I think you'll like Weapons. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad you suggested it, because I agree, it lives up to the hype.
No, that's good. I mean, I like I said, I knew I was avoiding anything about especially on TikTok, because TikTok is a great platform for like discovering new stuff. Like, I've discovered so much great music on TikTok, and then great movies as well, including this one.
New and old.
New and old, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was hyped, man. Like, when I saw it came out on HBO Max, I'm like, I have to watch Weapons. Justin, you're our resident horror guy. I mean, tell me, did this live up to the hype, or what do you think? Give me your fast thoughts.
I thought you were going to say I'm your Resident Evil guy. I'm like, you're also right on that one. I went into this one blind. However, I knew that it was from the same director as Barbarian, so I actually watched Barbarian pretty recently again. And I think after watching it a second time, as far as Barbarian goes, I gained like a little bit more appreciation for the movie, because when that movie first came out and I went and saw it, I was very underimpressed with Barbarian.
Oh, really?
I was actually not a very big fan at first. I did give it a second shot, and although it's like still, not my favorite go-to, I have a better appreciation for that film in particular. When it comes to Weapons, I went in blind. Only thing I knew was that it was the same director. I'm like, oh, okay, same director, probably same vibes as like Barbarian. Like, it really takes off in a completely different act while it builds itself story wise. But Weapons was actually a very surprising thing for me, only because I also watched Bring Her Back as well, and Bring Her Back and Weapons kind of sort of have like a similar like voodoo-ish, like pagan type of ritualistic cult thing going on, which was pretty interesting. And then the use of like the triangle shape in both movies. I know they're like completely unrelated movies, but it was just kind of interesting seeing similarities between the two films. But Weapons definitely was surprising. Would I consider it like a favorite of mine? Not necessarily. It was really good. I loved the build up to like the ending. Um, and I feel like, I don't want to get into it too much right now. We could talk about it later, but the ending was kind of interesting, I'll say the least. But it was definitely, judging based off of the commercials, I kind of saw where the film was going, and then it kind of just flips its lid a little bit. Because you're also trying to figure out like who did it. Like you're trying to like pick out the people, and I'm whenever it comes to like crime movies like this, and you're trying to solve the case like earlier on in the movie, you're like, oh, here's a list of all the people I think it is, and then you just kind of like break it down over time. I like being involved with movies like that. But yeah, it was an interesting and very fun watch, I'll say.
No, definitely. For me, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but there was two moments that for me that were the most messed up parts, and it wasn't even like any of the violent stuff. But I want to talk about that a little bit later because I want to ask Alex now next. Yeah, you watched it recently. I mean, what are your initial thoughts on this?
I also went in blind because I gouged my eyes out, and you can imagine how difficult it was to watch a movie with your eyes gouged out. But no,
Yeah.
it's I did go in blind.
See your doctor soon, please.
You can imagine how surprised I was how the hype, at least for me, it matched at least the expectation. I haven't watched a film that was like that, other than Begonia, which I think we are probably overhyping the movie. I really like want to discuss that movie too, but I think it was nice to go. I watched them both, Begonia and Weapons, this weekend. It was nice to go into a weekend being like kind of fulfilled with watching cool movies. You kind of like
back to back
That's
bangers.
kind of right. It's kind of hard, like a rare time, like
especially for the genre, right? Like normally you have to like go through like 5 or 10 scary movies, horror thrillers, and to find ones that you're like, oh, you know what, that was really solid, I would recommend that. And to have both, pretty cool.
And like I think I get where Justin's coming from, like being the like our resident horror guy and also our resident evil guy.
Evil.
But I could see why Justin's like his rating will probably be lower than mine. Like at the end of the show, he'll probably be lower than mine. But being somebody who isn't exposed to a lot of horror, not to say that I don't like horror. I love horror. It's just not my go-to like genre.
Same, and it's funny because some of the biggest movies that get hyped up so much, it seems like, tend to be horror movies. And maybe it's just my algorithm. I don't know. But sorry, go ahead.
No,
the darkness is calling you, Adrian.
I do find myself, especially around this time of year, like at Halloween and everything, I tend to gravitate to watching more horror. I finally got around to watching Jaws after all these years. So yeah, it's for Weapons had a really cool story and message to it, especially revolving around what is going on in this day and age, like the idea of control, who is actually pulling the strings, when it comes to our children. It's a pretty scary world out there, and it's not to say that we can't protect our children. We can. It's just we have to be a little bit more aware. So that's kind of what I took from Weapons.
I mean, in all seriousness, that's the biggest scary thing to me is, as a parent, losing your child. Like, I can't even imagine, that feeling, right? And well, I sort of can actually, because quick side tangent to 2 years ago, my kid got off at the wrong bus stop.
Oh no.
So thankfully, I had the foresight to put an Apple tag thing in his backpack, so I could see exactly where he was at. But you can only imagine the thoughts that were going through my head when I'm waiting for him at the bus stop and he never gets on. Like, I asked the bus driver, "Where's my kid?" And she's like, "Oh, wait." And I'm like, "Well, let me look on the GPS." And yeah, he was a little rattled. I was a little rattled. So I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? Like
that actually.
That scene was
something that it's. Go ahead, Chris.
No, okay. That scene where you see all the parents in the auditorium, and they're I don't know if you want to wait till later to talk about this, but you see all the parents getting riled up about their kids being missing, and you really felt like the intensity of that room was like I was afraid for that girl's safety. Justine in the movie. But
that was palpable, man.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin is such a good actor. Like,
yeah.
I feel like he can do a small role, and I call it a small role relative to his other stuff, but he can do a small role like this, and he really brings it. You know what I mean? Because I felt his anger in that opening scene that you're talking about in the auditorium. So
I think that's that scene that we were talking about, the auditorium, you know, very reflective of like what is going on today with like people, this echo chamber, right? Of like people wanting to find blame, you know, what seems rational to like blame the teacher is not something that would let, you know, if cooler heads prevailed, you could like actually obviously see that she cared, you know, she's not just like this negligent teacher who's, you know, what would be her motive in the first place to like make all these kids disappear, you know? It wasn't apparent in anything that she did in the past. I mean, maybe she had those like, yeah, she had that inappropriate relationship in the past with a faculty member, and then, you know, maybe a simple hug or driving a kid to like their home. But that's just, to me, seems like more of like somebody being kind.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you too, like, right, we're the audience, and so we get that the ability to see everything playing out in front of us, right? We get to see how she actually is. A lot of these parents like I barely know the teacher, and that's who I'm going to go to. And so that's why I thought the movie did such a good job with how they shot the movie, with how it being layered with the different perspectives and adding and going back. And they did such a great job at interweaving the details of it to, first of all, to Justin's point of it being like a whodunit aspect of, obviously you think the teacher first. And so you kind of start to build a case of all the reasons why it could be. And it does a beautiful job of like keeping her on the plate the whole time of like, maybe it was her. And then as the movie goes on, you kind of see the other suspects.
That's a good point you bring up. I thought it was going to go in the direction of it being Julia Garner after all, because she has like problems with alcohol and stuff. Well, you know, c'est la vie. But no, it completely sort of subverted your expectations in that sense and went in a completely different direction that I didn't see coming anyway. But I'm glad we bring that up because I want to talk about Amy Madigan, who plays Aunt Gladys. And I haven't seen Amy Madigan in anything else. I mean, have you guys heard of her before this? Because I haven't. But
which character is she?
She's been in a lot of stuff.
The only thing that like I really saw was Field of Dreams, and honestly, even with that, I was like, I barely even remember.
Yeah, she was in Gone Baby Gone. She was in Uncle Buck. She's been in a ton of stuff, dude.
Is that the aunt? Is that the Aunt Gladys?
Yeah.
And Weapons. Yeah. Aunt Gladys.
I remember her from Uncle Buck.
I don't remember her in anything. I feel like she's one of those faces that you just kind of know her when you see her. Like Lynn Lowry, who we recently saw in the Halloween Feast. But I didn't know Amy. I don't remember her from anything else. And it's been a while since I watched Field of Dreams. I have seen it and Gone Baby Gone, but
I've
To
never
that point,
seen
though,
Fever Dreams.
I really felt like this was really well cast for
Yes.
the different personalities and the story that they were going for. Like, I don't feel like a single person was mismatched
Yeah.
for their role.
But what did you think about the fact that Amy Madigan plays the villain, right? But she's almost like a subversive. She's like, they really subverted the expectations on what a villain is in a horror movie, because at first glance she appears to be this overtly happy-go-lucky person. Like, I love the scene where she comes to Benedict Wong's house. You know, they're just trying to sit down and eat some hot dogs and some carrots and watch a game or watch a documentary about parasitic bugs. And here
That was
comes
a
Amy
lot, that was a
Madigan.
lot of hot dogs.
Yeah, a lot of hot dogs. Here comes Amy Madigan. She's like, I had to go all the way across town. And like the way she
The
says
over
that
the
is
top.
and then she comes, she's like, oh my God, this is a beautiful home. Is that, I bet that's original. That's original, isn't it? And then I love the line. I'm totally skipping over a bunch of stuff, but I love the line where she's like, water in a bowl, please. And he's like, in a bowl? And she's like, yeah, it's a little quirk of mine. I don't bother to justify it anymore. Like, that's such a good line of dialogue right there.
It was so believable for how
it
over
was
the top it was. Like, I feel like we've all like have met Aunt Gladys before.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, geez, just get me out of the room with this woman. Cause
Yeah, and then in the span of like a second or two, she like turns into this dark, fucking
very
threatening
calculated
presence. Yeah, where she what does she do? She takes hair from the husband, Benedict Wong's husband, and then she wraps it around a stick, and then she cuts her finger on the branch, and she snaps it, and then she has full control of anybody she wants at that point. So
yeah.
that's the magic system in this movie, you know, because she's supposed to be a witch. And what did you guys think? Did you guys notice that shot where Julia Garner's character is trying to talk to Alex, and she like sort of like squats down to be at his eye level, but when she squats down, you see witch behind her on her car. Like that was good framing. You know what I mean? Like I really just I thought it was very clever, you know, visually. Anyway, and the other thing I wanted to say really quick, Zach Krager, speaking of Barbarian, he likes to set his movies in houses in confined quarters, it seems. I don't know if that's just a coincidence, like from Barbarian to this, but I mean, Zach Krager also is not only that, but he's from the Whitest Kids You Know comedy group. Did you guys ever see any of those sketches?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that. And honestly, going in and watching this movie, I didn't really make that connection until later on. And I watched Barbarian, and that's his movie too. I didn't even make that connection. I'm like, and it was until like I started like doing a little bit of light research on weapons where I found out. I was like, oh, okay. Now that kind of, I think that's also what gave me a slight more appreciation based on like who he actually is and who what he used to work for. You know, Whitest Kids You Know was like one of my favorite sketch comedy shows of its time.
Yeah.
I even find myself to this day like watching old episodes, but
I like the PCP sketch. Remember when
that's
he
my
runs into the
favorite
guy
one.
and he's like,
yeah,
"Oh, PCP! Wow!" Like the way just
I didn't know
facial.
it came in liquid form.
Isn't
Well,
it
it does.
interesting?
Well-
Isn't it interesting how like comedy sketch comedy writers and stars, like you think of Key and Peele, you think
Yeah.
of like the white, like
Jordan
they're
Peele.
all like they're all like transitioning to horror, which is an interesting thing, you know?
I too wonder why that is, and I wonder if it's because horror. And just you tell me what you think, right? Because I feel like horror is a really good sandbox genre. You can do anything. You can do anything in horror. Anything can be horrific, right?
Yeah.
Well,
what do
like,
you
even
think
with,
about
like,
that?
Sketch comedy, you could do anything. So there's like that kind of correlation
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It
I think-
really, I think, kind of like taps into like the nuances of comedy. I think play in so well to horror as far as like what makes people tick. Like you have to, nothing is going to be funny for everyone, right? And nothing is going to be scary for everyone. And so like there's like these really humanistic aspects of like diving into like how people think and what are they going to find funny and what are they going to find scary. And so like there's like this weird Venn diagram of like knowing people, right, and what makes them tick. Sorry,
Yeah.
I mean, I cut you off.
No, you're fine.
No, no.
Somebody wrote Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
I've seen that one.
You
Yeah.
never would have thought Pride and Prejudice, a period drama from like Victorian England, could be translated into like a horror version, and someone did it. We recently watched on this show. We recently talked about Overlord. I mean, it's a World War II. It's a horror movie set in a World War II setting, and there's so many. I mean, even the Serbian film, I think, was a horror movie in its own ways. And I mean, hell, even Oppenheimer, which I watched last year. I mean, that was a horror movie in its own ways too. So I don't know. I think there's something to that for sure. And yeah, Alex, I'm glad you bring that up because Jordan Peele, obviously he did Us and he did Nope and he did Get Out. That's the other one, right? The 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to ask you guys about this other thing in Weapons. The scene where Josh Brolin is having a dream and he's following his kid and then he sees what looks like an assault rifle above a house, and the assault rifle says 217 on it. I have some theories, but I want to hear from you guys. Chris, I'll start with you. What did you think about that moment?
Well, at first it was just personally it was really jarring. For me, I didn't know what direction it was gonna go in. I immediately thought, oh, is this some sort of like motif on like school shootings and like with the whole classroom being disappearing except for one student. I thought there was maybe some shooter aspects to it, and to directly have it related to the gun. It honestly it almost took me out of the movie. And had they not put it in there, I don't think it would have lost anything. 6'7".
Yeah.
6'7". My buddy Brian is saying 6'7" in the chat. He's also said a lot of other things that I'm not going to read because it's too long. But he's saying somebody's in the chat today. But thank you for that, Brian. No, so when I watched it the second time with some friends of mine, and they pointed out it's 217. There's 17 kids missing, and then there was 2 people that are not missing, which was the teacher and Alex. So I didn't realize that until he pointed it out. But the other thing you were talking about, as far as the themes with school shootings and stuff, the director, Zach Krager, said that's not what he intended with that. But as they say, like, just because the author doesn't see it that way, you could still interpret things in a certain way. So who knows? I mean, that's how I took it. So, I don't think it's invalidated by what the director says necessarily. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? Alex, what was your interpretation of the assault rifle? Did you see that? Did you capture that in your head as far as the...
I saw the assault rifle, and it kind of felt like a little bit of misdirection, like it's something that he was imagining in his own head, like it's trying to so he's seeing these dreams and they're obviously being, I don't want to say obviously, but they're being sent to him in like from on Gladys, because she knows that he's trying. I don't know how far and how that is able to make that connection, but like you remember, like he's having that dream and he sees her, but before he ever even, do they even meet? Does Josh Brolin and Gladys, do they ever meet prior to them going to that house?
No, I don't think so.
And even in the
remember,
house.
he wakes up from that dream, or like the final thing, and he's like looking at what is his son, supposed to be his son, sleeping in the bed, and then he rips up the cover, and it's like that scary, frightening version of Gladys where it looks like the Joker, right?
Oh
and
yeah,
like
which is terrifying.
Makeup, yeah,
Truly terrifying.
That was the moment I turned all the lights on in my apartment, by the way. Or no. It was when Julia Garner was when her dream, when she walks into her classroom.
Yeah.
Even before that, when she walks into the classroom and that one kid looks up with the makeup, that's when I was like, all right, lights are coming on.
The little mini Joker.
He slept in that makeup like Brandon Lee.
How do you guys think Anne Gladys took over Josh Brolin's character? Because her little branches and stuff were upstairs in the bathroom or whatever. She was in the basement. She does a jump. She jumps out towards Josh Brolin, and then it cuts to the next scene. Does she have like a spare branch and bowl of water next to her that she was able to control Josh Brolin that way, or does she have mystical witch powers that we don't really know about?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily like. I think she needed only a couple of the objects. I think the bowl was more of like a more along the lines of the
Just an
ritual.
easy way to clean herself up.
Probably. I don't know. I don't think she needs all of those materials to perform said ritual. I think all she does is I think even it's like they showed when little boy Alex, right? He was like collecting all the items from all of his co-students, fellow friends, classmates. Uh, so I don't think she necessarily needs like a whole lot. She just needs something that's like attached to somebody or something like piece of clothing, hair, a toy, or something like that in order for her to make that work. So
Cool.
I don't think she necessarily needs any specific ritual way to get it done.
She has his son.
Oh, that's true too. She has his
Oh
son.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like in a way a possession. I don't want to like
No,
say
I,
that's
I
the
think that's a good explanation.
Yeah.
But it was funny because when they because the movie is told from 4 different perspectives. It's Julia Garner's character, Josh Brolin's character, Alden Ehrenreich's character, and then Alex's the Alex basically
Yeah.
is the last one.
And
And they flash back to when Aunt Gladys comes over, and then they show her up in her bedroom, and there's a panning shot that's kind of sweeping across their bedroom, and you see the little branch, the thing that has the branches that she uses for her magic. You see it really quickly, and like I thought that was a nice little attention to detail that they established it in that moment, and then it pans over to her.
We also do see the drug addict.
Oh,
his
that's
name
right.
is
So,
James.
so is
Yeah.
it 5? It's 1, 2.
It's 6 technically because they don't they go to Gladys as is technically a 6.
Well, Gladys is through Alex's POV, so that's 1.
Yeah.
Julia Garner's POV is 2. Josh Brolin 3. Oh, Benedict Wong 4.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then Alden Ehrenreich's 5. I think that's it. Yeah, so it's 5? Yeah, it has to be 5. Which I'm glad we're talking about because I feel like a lot of people loved that aspect of the story that it was told from all these different perspectives. Some people didn't vibe with it for some reason. I thought it was a great storytelling technique. What do you guys think? Justin, I'll start with you. What did you think about that aspect of it?
I'm a personal fan of the way movies are shot like that or edited like that. Like I love movies like Crash. Yeah, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with telling the story in that way. It gives you a broader idea of what's happening. It unveils things that you probably didn't think about from the get-go. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But I always feel like it's one of those mechanisms that allows the watcher to be more integrated into the story, like you're figuring it out as you're going along, type of deal.
Right.
But
Who was your favorite POV?
I don't know. They were all really good. They really were. I would say I think just for the fact that you start like unveiling a lot of like core moments and key things is when they go to Alex's perspective, and you're able to kind of be like, oh, okay. It wasn't necessarily for me that it was like, oh, I kind of called it from the beginning, but I was like, near the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, okay, it's either they're going to do a flip on me, it's going to be the teacher, or it's going to be somebody that's in that classroom. And the only other person that was in that classroom was the boy. So I kind of guessed that one earlier on, but they kind of threw it off, especially. And I'm gonna bring it back to like that assault rifle that appears over the house. That part really threw me off, and I think one of you said it earlier that it was just used as like a mechanism to kind of like throw people off. I think that scene in particular, if you were to take that scene out, I don't know. I feel like people get a little too deep into symbolism. That scene reminds me a lot of like the movie Across the Universe, not in the sense that it's like similar, but that scene where he's being recruited into the military or he's joining the military, and it's that song like I want you so bad, and then like you go through all the symbolisms of like wartime and stuff. propaganda, like American propaganda and all that. I think during the Vietnam War, that's kind of what that assault rifle above the house was symbolizing in a way. And I do still feel like that in itself symbolizes control, because in order to control people, you need fear, and what do people fear the most is a shooter in some shape or form. Now, I think it's true that Zach Cregers doesn't consider this movie to be anything like a school shooting or anything, but I feel like the assault rifle still is a control mechanism of some sort. But
I agree.
Going back to what I was saying though, is that I think Alex's perspective kind of lays the groundwork for the remainder of the movie, but doesn't mean that the everything else from the get-go was bad, because it wasn't. I actually really loved the storytelling. I just think that was the key moment where things were like that aha moment that everything took off.
I love the drug junkie's perspective the most, only because it was the funniest one.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really give a fuck about any of those kids. He cares about the money. That's what he wants. He wants that dough.
$50,000 prize.
Oh yeah, but the creepiest thing that I didn't even catch the two times that I watched it, because by the way, this movie, it's color graded a little bit too dark in some moments. Like, I wish they would have just popped up the little brightness a little bit, just a little bit. Because the basement scene where the junkie goes into the basement and see those kids like turn to look at him, I had to see that on YouTube to know what the hell was happening in that moment. And when I saw it, I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking scary. The way they just like snapped and looked at him, and then he's like, obviously his reaction made sense. So, but his whole POV was great. Go ahead.
I think with when you're talking about like the dark and how dark it was, I think that's super intentional, because if you think about it, like, actually one of the things I didn't get to bring up in The Crow is kind of applicable to this movie. It's the dark spaces, the like the massive like dark spaces is like what creates fear, like what's lurking in the darkness,
Unknown.
the unknown. And I think that also it's that idea of with darkness, there is the acknowledgement of light. So there's like that kind of perspective.
I love what you're saying. I'm just it's the film student in me that is like,
I
I want to
get that.
see what's
I totally get
happening.
that. I totally get that. Yeah.
In fairness, I've had the same TV since, I'm doing the Trump hands again. Why do I do that? I've had the same TV since 2014. And like,
I think that's your problem right there.
well, yeah, when I moved back from California, I grabbed it by the top edge, so there's a permanent like mark on the edges where I grabbed it, and like the screen's kind of fucked up. But I watched it at my friend's house as well, and I still didn't see what the hell was happening. But I appreciate what you're saying. I do believe, I agree with what you're saying. But yeah, I
Gotta
just
increase
wish
that backlight, dude.
I gotta increase
The hell?
on my 11-year-old TV. Yeah,
Yeah.
You gotta get one of those OLEDs.
yeah. Let's start a Patreon for. By the way, we
Black
have
Friday,
my buddy Brian's in the chat. Healing Laughter Power is not with us tonight. I don't know where he's at, but we let him know we're live. So, and by the way, hey guys, we have a bot in the chat, a bot trying to advertise their wares. So I won't say the name or anything like that, but yeah, there is a bot in the chat. I told him to go home because he's drunk. But yeah, we stream every time we record now. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and well, not TikTok because we keep getting a ban from TikTok streaming. But yeah, guys, join us on the live chat whenever you can. We're on there. Yeah, I like the junkies. Chris, what was your favorite POV, if you had one at all?
Yeah, I liked Paul. That's the cop. I really liked his because it kind of you see
What a
him as like
doofus, by the way.
absolute doofus. And I think that's kind of like the point where you see like the white knight in him, kind of like all the shine comes off, right? You see how much of a mess he is, and specifically the scene with the junkie, and you see him having to make those decisions very rapidly, and you kind of see it all break down. Like, oh man, this guy's really not thinking straight, because he like does all that stuff with the junkie and then unplugs the cop camera that literally just caught everything, and then him just like frantically trying to like put the pieces back together, and I just really liked that aspect.
And it's funny because when we first meet him in the bar with Julia Garner's character, he's like, he's very chill. He's very like, I don't drink anymore.
together.
I'm just gonna have a Coke. Tell me about you. Tell me about what's going on in your life. Blah blah blah. Very smooth. And then we see it from his POV, and we're like, this guy is a total fuck up. He's got like a hot blonde wife who he cheats on. Her dad is the chief of police, and clearly the dad doesn't respect him or like him. And then he goes and relapses with Julia Garner's character, and it's like, bro, get your shit together. And then, unplugging the camera and beating up the junkie. It's like, what is going on with? I mean, I guess a cop beating somebody up is par for the course, but you understand what I'm getting at. So
I loved in the junkie's perspective when you see the cop go into his tent and just get popped in the face. He's like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Did you like the shot where the junkie's like looking up at the reward for the $10,000 reward for the mission? He's like,
yeah, it's just completely like, oh, in his state.
I also wanted to like kind of go back to talk about like Alex's like POV. I think it's extremely interesting and extremely sad to kind of like watch his parents go from like one way to another.
God,
yes. I'm glad you're bringing this
hard.
up.
Yeah, I thought that was devastating. I was like, man, what is this kid gonna do? And then his it's like this also another thing about like trusting family too. It's like whose aunt was it? I forget whose aunt
it was. The mom's aunt.
The mom's aunt. Yeah. It's like it reminds me of the movie the M. Night Shyamalan movie, the Visit, where the kids go visit their grandparents and then they drop them off, and then like
The Visit,
they're like, why are our grandparents acting like weird? They're like crawling on the floor in the middle of the night, and they're like, oh, don't
running around naked.
Don't come downstairs at night, or you're gonna get in trouble. Yeah, and it kind of reminded me of that. It's like, did the mother, like, does the mother really truly know this person, or did they have like, oh, they vaguely look like my aunt? I mean, I don't know if that was like a thing, because I would never allow somebody like that, family or not, man, into my house. Like, I would have to establish some kind of connection in order for me to invite family like that over.
First of all,
that'd be like me inviting my aunt over, and then there's a history behind that, but it's just like I would never, because I knew she was going to be greedy and steal shit. So
right. Dude, I never knew M. Night Shyamalan did a movie called The Visit in 2015. I've never heard about this.
You should watch it. It's kind of silly, but it's actually kind of good.
I'm having a Berenstein Bears moment right now. I don't know that this existed prior to this conversation, because I feel like I've seen every M. Night movie except his most recent one, which was the Trap with what's his name, Josh Hartnett. Yeah. When did he do the 15? What the heck?
The less you know about the movie, the better. I mean, obviously that kind of goes with a lot of horror.
Oh, you didn't like it?
But no. I think it's really good. But it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, so again, the less details you find out before you watch that movie, the better.
That's crazy.
That movie will be.
Thank you for telling me about that, Justin. Seriously, I'm having a do you guys know what the paradox, the Berenstein Bears? Supposedly they were called the Bernstein Bears, but then there was some Bernstein, and Nelson. The Mandela Effect is what it's called.
Or that the movie Shazam exists, and I swear dude, that's one I believe, is because I swear to God I've seen a movie with Sinbad as a genie. I swear to fucking God.
Here's the one I believe.
Shit. Yeah.
Fruit of the Loom. They had that cornucopia thing, and then they didn't, and then they did. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
like, I don't know. It's weird. But so we'll add The Visit to this temporal space causal time editing that we're experiencing in real time. Because we all died when Harambe was killed. That's when the timeline really switched, and that's why we're in hell right now. When an ex-reality show star is running the country, that's when things have gotten pretty fucked, right?
This is the bad place.
This is anyway. But Justin, I'm glad you bring that up in all seriousness, because that fucked me up the most. out of everything in this movie, when his parents are controlled by Aunt Gladys, and then he like poor kid, poor kid trying to, he's completely out of his depth. And by the way, that actor, that child actor, kudos to him, man. It's so hard to be. It's so hard to be a good actor, I think, in a lot of ways, especially when you're a child. And he killed it. He totally killed it. So kudos to him.
Yeah, it was so heavy watching him go through all of that. Like from the get-go of like him being like on edge, like with the dad in the car and the dad explaining like, hey, I barely know this woman either, but like we're gonna put up with her and she'll be gone soon. And then obviously you see it all unfold and how his parents, who seemingly like were his friends, right? Like you see that he finds a lot of enjoyment with his parents, and so to see the two people he cares about the most be in that situation and that table scene.
Stabbing each other with a fork in the face.
Oh, you gotta be
that shit
fucking
was
kidding me.
great.
They just have a touch of consumption. That's all it is. A touch of consumption.
What about eating soup? Would you guys consider that
That
enough?
pissed me off.
Enough
I'm gonna be honest.
sustenance. Enough sustenance. Like, okay, if nobody is at this house working, right? I'm assuming Gladys has no money. Who the fuck keeps buying these cans of Campbell's soup? By the way, that's hella good marketing.
I was just gonna say that because the Campbell's Soup Company must have helped fund weapons.
Right, in some way. It pissed me off so much watching him feed everyone because I was like, you watch him with the soup and the noodles falling out of all of their mouths, and I get that he's young, but oh man, I'd be so pissed if you're because like I would assume they're in a zombie state, right? And so like I would imagine that they can sort of perceive things, so you would just feel like soup running down your face, like, come on, man, just get the whole spoon in my mouth.
I would be hungry exactly 30 seconds after eating an entire can of soup. I'd be hungry. 30 seconds.
Do you think he fed one can to each kid and to his parents?
That's a lot. That's a lot.
He like comes home from work. He comes home from work or from school, and he's like, "All right, gotta do the souping again every day." Bro, I would have told somebody at school immediately. I'm like, "Yo, this lady's fucking making me feed all my friends cans of soup." Dude, I'd be so mad.
You're telling me this witch lady has the power to put them all under her spell, where they don't have to like go shit and piss all the time, but she can't have the power to make them not be hungry. Like what?
I mean,
I don't know.
Like, I mean, Campbell's Soup is pretty cheap for one. But my thing is he following the directions to like make that soup
Guaranteed
correctly?
no.
Because you have to like put like a lot of water because it's condensed soup. It's condensed, meaning like it's a pretty high sodium content. So those people are getting like cured with all that soup.
Yes.
They're all gonna have kidney stones after this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
no physical
that's why they
activity
weren't
except
talking
standing.
right away after
They're
they
gonna have like heart attacks. Those kids are gonna have heart
cholesterol.
attacks. Those kids are gonna have heart attacks from like congestive heart failure.
They're all aged like 5 years. Was it the magic? No, it was all the salt that sucked me dry.
Maybe she was buying the low sodium version of each.
Oh yeah, that would help.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either. But yeah, man, this movie really hit the right spot. You know, like when you're hungry and you eat something and you're like, oh man, that hit the spot. This movie hit the spot for me. I enjoyed Barbarian. I didn't care that much for it though. Overall, I thought it was kind of weak towards the end. But this movie really made up for that, and I feel like Zach Crager is only just exponentially getting better as a director and a writer. So
yeah, you really felt that in this movie. Like you felt like he evolved truly, like across the board. So
and, it's good because I feel like he probably learned a lot from Barbarian. He probably learned a lot as far as storytelling and being more economic with it. Barbarian seemed like it was too abrupt when they cut to Justin Long's character, and it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing with this guy? And then it's like, then there's another flashback. But this movie, I think it was more streamlined. I think the different POVs really helped. And like some people complain that there wasn't like a lot of character development for each character each character POV, but I don't know that we needed it. I feel like you learned enough about each character from their own POV that you didn't have to we didn't have to know more about Julia Garner's character and her problems with alcohol and sleeping with other teachers and this, that, and the other. Like, we got enough of that per POV. So
why would we need it anyway? Because the entire point of the movie is to figure out what happened to these kids. Why did they all just disappear?
We don't care about the art.
And why can nobody find them? Yeah.
There's no point in
I mean, if anything, it would just be more, if you're trying to learn more about any certain character, it's about, once again, misdirection, you know? That's the whole point of, I feel like in horror especially, there's a lot of misdirection. Like, hey, look over here. I mean, you go into a haunted house. You look a certain way, but you're not expecting what's happening coming from your other side, you know?
The dark corners.
Isn't that, typical of horror in general?
The whole point.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's why, I love the original Halloween movie. And the movies that came out after, where they try to go back and explain Michael Myers' past and history. We don't need all that. Why not leave it mysterious? Why do we have to know all this stuff about who he was and blah blah blah? No, Michael Myers is just Michael Myers. That's it. We don't need a whole backstory. And don't get me wrong, the one Halloween movie that came out, the one recently where they go to the prison and they had the original guy and all that. There was a lot of good tension scenes in that, but the rest of the movie was I didn't need to know all this about him, Weapons doesn't waste their time with that. They just give you enough, and they tease you enough, and then they explain things, I think, at the right moment, right? Pacing was great.
Well balanced.
A well-balanced meal of Campbell's soup and alcohol, apparently.
A lot of vodka. A lot of vodka.
Should we talk about the finale of how the movie ends?
Yes.
Spoiler alert. For those who haven't seen it,
Stop
spoiler
listening
alert.
now. Just kidding. Listen now.
Listen, let me torture your ear holes.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, what's her name? Julia Garner and Josh Brolin's characters go to the house, and they go inside, and then all hell breaks loose. They're getting attacked by the junkie. She's getting attacked by the cop character played by Alden Ehrenreich. And then the kid is trying to what's the kid trying to do? He's trying to break the spell on his parents, and he inadvertently comes across his aunt, the witch, her little magic fucking twig or whatever branch, and all this stuff is happening, and then eventually the kid figures it out. What does he do? He takes a piece of the ant's hair, wraps it around the stick, pricks his finger, gets some blood in that bitch, snaps it, and then the aunt is the witch, Aunt Gladys is oh no, and she knows what's coming, and it's a stampede of 17 children coming to kill her ass.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if the intention was to be outright hilarious.
I think
but
so.
I was belly laughing.
I think so too.
I think it was hilarious. I think it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was irky, right? While it's funny and watching it, I couldn't imagine being chased by 17 children trying to murder me. They're little.
What that whole thing reminded me of, and especially now knowing who the director is, it reminds me of a full circle moment of a Whitest Kids You Know sketch. That's what it reminds me of. They built this whole movie just for the fact that they can have 17 kids murder this old lady.
I love it.
Just reverse engineering. How do we get to here?
Yeah.
They built a puppet thing that had arms and stuff that came apart, and then they had blood sacks. I watched a video about this. He explained the way they did it. They tested it out, but they wanted to test it with the kids to make sure they weren't going to be traumatized. Dude, those kids loved it. They loved tearing that dummy apart, and they loved getting the blood squirted out. They loved that whole moment. So it looked like a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for them, apparently, so it's all good in the end. And then, that's the ending to the movie, basically. And the narrator kicks in, and she's like, some of the kids just barely started talking again, but a lot of them didn't. And I think like we were saying earlier, it's just too much Campbell's soup. But yeah, that's Weapons. I mean, that's the horror movie of the year. I think it's up there with Sinners, right? Did you guys watch Sinners? We should talk about that soon.
Yeah.
A lot of good horror movies coming out. Sorry, what's that?
Good.
Alex, you were saying something? Sorry.
I was just saying I still haven't seen Sinners yet.
You should watch it. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's been on my list. I need to. I was gonna watch it this past weekend, but I ended up
You know what I
watching
like about that
instead.
one? Michael B. Jordan just oozes cool. I think we've talked about this before when we did Chronicle. That guy is just so naturally charismatic,
Yeah.
and there's two of him in that movie. So
I want to be cool like him, for sure.
Don't we all? I need a.
You are cool, Alex.
you are, yeah. No,
Aw.
you're cool in your own way. You know, Michael B. Jordan is his own level of cool. You know, I don't think anyone can match that.
You
But
guys
yeah.
should watch. You guys should watch Bring Her Back if you haven't done so.
I saw that was on HBO.
Yeah, I
I
saw
want to
that
watch
too.
that
Yeah.
next.
I
Yeah,
have that.
what
I
is
have
that
on my
about?
list, too.
I don't know.
I don't know what it's about
It's
either.
about
What is
bringing
it?
her
think-
back.
It's about bringing her back.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll understand why. I think I'm
Bring
gonna
it
say, as far as like intensity goes, I feel like Bring Her Back's a little bit more intense.
Yeah. And then like Black Phone 2 came out. I didn't really like the first Black Phone, if I'm being honest. I think Chris, you were saying that earlier, right? That you didn't like
No,
Black
no,
Phone.
I don't like watching those types of movies.
Oh,
Where-
okay.
So
I watched the
avoid
first
it.
one, and Ethan Hawke is, by the way, is amazing. But I don't know, that movie just didn't do it for me. This movie did it for me. And
I love Black Phone. That's me. I thought it was amazing. I was like, oh, this is Ethan Hawke's like best performance.
you know what the problem is with
And
me
you don't
personally?
even see him. What?
I need to turn off my phone. And with Weapons and with Sinners, I was like, let me turn off my phone, because I didn't do that when I watched Black Phone. And then I'm like on my phone and watching it on my phone, and I'm like, what's going on? But so I need to give it another chance, I think. But I feel like 2025 has been a great year for horror. Justin, don't you think? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff.
All
you
this
know?
stuff. Yeah. I'm slowly catching up to most of it, but it's been a decent year. We've had some fumbles, and we've had some really, really good films out there. I'm not going to name any names, but it's been a very plentiful year of horror, and I'm hoping that we get some more next year. I mean, I'm the type of person that watches at least one horror movie a day. So
Right.
yeah. It doesn't matter for me what season it is. I'll watch it regardless.
Yeah,
I mean, it used to be that the horror season was like September, October, you know, summertime kind of, because leading up to Halloween. Now with streaming, which has done a lot of damage, but all at the same time done a lot of good, they're releasing horror year round. Like there's no shortage of that genre, you know, movies coming out from that genre. So, I guess that's a
The
good thing,
world
especially
is
if you're
scary. The world
The
is
world
scary.
is-
So
yeah. There's nothing in this movie that scared me more than what's happening in real life. Let's just say that. You know, we don't get political on the show for a good reason, right? But what's happening in real life is a lot more scarier than what could ever be done on film. But yeah, that's Weapons. I think we covered it. Please, if there's anything else you guys want to bring up, feel free.
Can we
Chris,
just
do you
talk
have
about
anything?
Can we talk about how they ran? That just seems like so much fun, and I'm really happy I got to see an adult run like that.
honestly,
That moment was so funny.
I was actually thinking about this. In the past, before Weapons, that pose while running would be associated with Naruto.
Yeah.
And now it'll forever be associated with Weapons.
Naruto run, your arms are further back.
Yeah,
And you're
but I
you're
I
like-
still
Oh.
feel like that
You're
movie
like-
is still pretty well, and you're
Yeah.
leaning forward more. You're
Yeah,
leaning
yeah.
forward more.
that's Naruto.
But I do
This
feel
is-
like there's still like a similarity where people will be like, "Oh, that's the Naruto run." Naruto run.
I would,
Let's
I would
just
say
say
it's more of a T pose.
you can't attack Area 51 by running the way you did in Weapons. You can
But you
only
can make
do
friends along the way.
it. You can make
Yes. And get caught on Ring cameras.
yeah.
And
you
clap
can
those
cameras.
alien cheeks.
But yeah, guys. I mean, Mike, if anything else you want to talk about with this movie, please bring it up. Do you have anything else, Justin? Do we want to go into final thoughts? I feel like it's probably about that time, right?
Let's
Yeah.
do final
I think
thoughts.
so.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why the hell
We're
not?
not gonna have the sleeping meter tonight. Arnold is not here tonight, unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah, Justin, final thoughts, man. Tell us, what do you think?
Yeah, Weapons, a very good film, a very good horror movie. As far as like rewatchability goes, like I was trying to rewatch it again prior to recording this episode, and I lost track of time. I'll probably watch it one more time. I don't know if it has that much rewatchability, just because it heavily focuses on like the ending being like, okay, here's the reveal, this is who's doing it, this is what's happening. So as far as rewatchability goes, I'm not too sure. Maybe it's one of those things that like you'll watch it with somebody who's never seen it before, probably. I think I'll watch it maybe one more time, and make it like, oh, I feel like watching like this quirky thriller, horror thriller. I think the storytelling was done extremely well. I like having things broken up for me. I really feel like I'm being included in investigating on what's actually happening in the movie, and I always like being engaged in horror movies or thrillers or crime scene type of things. And I think Josh Brolin, he's a wonderful actor. I actually like, I don't know, I like going back and
What
watching
the
the
fuck?
good.
He wakes up.
Yeah,
He wakes up from the train. Such a good mom.
um,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I like watching. I watched The Goonies recently, and I'm like, man, like watching The Goonies, and you'd be like, man, this guy's gonna. You couldn't tell me like back in the day that this guy was going to be Thanos and off to like doing some like really spectacular movies. I feel like Josh Brolin really knows how to pick them. I don't know. I don't know necessarily how like the acting gigs work. Like, do they get to pick them? Do their managers consult with them? I'm really unsure of like that whole scenario.
Depends
It
on
just
how
seems like,
bankable they are.
yeah, it just seems like whatever these like big actors choose, or whatever they happen to be on, it always just seems to be like back to back bangers. And it's not saying that like Josh Brolin is like a main character in most of these movies. He's always like kind of like a side ish, like he's there. He's like he's a credited, paid credited actor for the film, but it always seems like he kind of takes these side character roles. Like even Thanos, like he's a major part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but most of the time his character kind of takes a sidestep until like the big event, which is the last two Marvel movies. But I'm always glad to see Josh Brolin in a role. He's great. He's one of my favorites. I think him playing this like typical, um, suburban cowboy, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually a great.
He's like
It's a great way to
cowboy.
put it, actually.
I think, even in No Country for Old Men, like he plays. Was he in No Country? Yeah, he was in No Country.
He was.
Yeah, he plays this like, small town like, character. Obviously we know what type of person he's playing. But he always delivers those roles so well. I'm like, man, I hope it's not from experience, but
Yeah.
uh yeah, I think the kids were actually some of my favorite highlights. I don't know. I just think it's so satisfying watching them run. And then I also like seeing all the camera footage of them being like, "Oh, where did they go?" Like all the ring cameras just only caught them like leaving the house and running out into the darkness. I thought that was like a really really cool thing to kind of add the eeriness to it and the mystery behind it. Was utilizing ring cameras in such a way, and also for Josh Brolin's character to kind of like figure everything out by lining up where people's houses and their ring cameras were pointing, and for him to like make that connection and be like, okay, well, they're in this they should be in this general area, and it seems like they all met up at the same point. And although as much of a far fetch that was for him to come up with that, I'm surprised the police didn't come up with something like that. I mean, I feel like as a detective, or law enforcement in general, I would like connect the dots like that immediately, but everybody in this small town is stupid apparently. But yeah, anyway, there's some really nice little thrills, chills, a lot of mystery solving, and I really like that about that film. It's definitely unique. And I'm just gonna, give my rating. For Letterbox, I'm gonna give this. I believe I gave it a like 4.5 or something like that. So I did like the film a lot. Is it like my most favorite thing of all time as far as horror goes? Not necessarily, but I do highly recommend it if you've never seen it before. If you want a nice little horror mystery, even some like voodoo-esque things going on. This is a movie that you should definitely check out. So I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 5. You can find me on social media at GhostNerd88, or my personal at Shibs the Zombie.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that, Justin. You and Alex both sporting good shirts today. You got the Terminator 2. Alex got Garfield. I love it. I love it. What is it? Eight. I hate God. You and me both, my friend. Alex, yeah, tell us. Final thoughts. Where can people find you?
So, I think that I found this movie as much as I really really enjoyed it. It definitely was, in my opinion, a little bit predictable. Like in the sense that the way it was being laid out, the way it was, it felt like what do you call it? Like a crime drama, like a thriller. The way that they were like playing it out, and it made, for me, whenever I saw they were the different scenes, they were laying out this whole thing, and so once you get to that point, like say Julia Garner's character, she falls asleep. She's trying to figure it out herself, and then it's obviously not her because some weird lady comes out with scissors and cuts off a part of her hair. And so, like, why would she get a haircut? Like, why would they want a lock of her hair? And so you move on with like those things, and then like with Marcus's character, he was kind of like the way to show how the magic worked. Like he had an integral role, but it was like, so it was kind of explaining how the magic worked and actually showing who was actually doing it. So there was like really no, and by the end of the movie, who's actually doing it. Like that at that point, So it's kind of like, for me, that's why I kind of felt it was predictable, but not in a bad way, not in a really bad way. Because like you could have a movie be predictable and still pull you in. You know what I mean? I think that's the hallmark of a good writing. You can make, if you can make something, like nuanced enough to where you feel like it's still like worth watching, then it's like the predictability doesn't matter. It felt like it felt like a crime drama, like with horror elements to me. And so I really enjoyed it, though. I thought it was it definitely had some good jump scares, well placed jump scares. It wasn't overused. None of that was overused. I almost felt like how we talked about in The Crow, the hallmark moments. Like Chris, you brought up the idea of it, like giving the space to breathe. I felt like the James scene, the James little section, and with even Paul, that gave the film room to breathe as well. Like that gave Weapons room to breathe and like actually give you a better understanding of what the characters are, their intentions are, and everything like that. And but yeah, for me, I gave it a 4 out of 5, and you could find me at Daily Dares on all the socials, and that is what I'm sticking with.
All right, cool.
I agree 100% with what you're saying. Some movies, like you said, they can meet the same plot beats that you've seen 1,000 times and still be satisfying to watch, right? Music is the same way. How many songs follow the same exact formula, and Taylor Swift does the same shit all the time, and she's like a billionaire, right? I'm just using her as one of many examples of following a formula and still being successful at what you do. I think Weapons is that way, but almost in its own. I don't know how many horror movies I've seen with multiple POVs like this. So, even with hitting those beats that you're used to. They did it.
It
in
almost felt like
uh,
a Pulp Fiction-esque
yeah.
feel.
That's a good way. That's a great way to. Oh, I keep hitting the mic. That's a great way to put it, right? Because Pulp Fiction was one of the more one of the first movies in the more of the modern era to do something like that, right? Like not a lot of movies were doing that at the time, and Pulp Fiction got away with it because it's such a good, it's such a good movie on its own, and so is this one.
Yeah, have you, to that point, have you guys seen the movie Strange Darling before? It came out last year, I believe. They do a similar thing. It's shot. You have?
I started watching. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, it's really interesting concept. They have 6 parts to the movie, and they show you the parts out of order, and it's another horror thriller mystery. But the thing that's different from that one to this one is that one is a very linear story. They just have the one story and they cut it up into different parts. Whereas this one, I felt like did such a good job at like layering the aspects and kind of like jumping back, jumping to present, and cutting up the parts in that way. So
I mean, Lost did that all the time, and that was one of the most successful TV shows ever made. Saw 2 did that. Saw 2 kind of jumped back and forth a little bit to kind of give you more context and stuff. I loved Saw 2. I think I think Justin, you were the one that said it actually. The first 3 Saw movies are like the best. After that, don't waste your time. But the first 2 or 3 are like the best ones, right?
Except for number 10.
Oh, okay.
10's great. 10's actually really good.
Saw 10 is like the iPhone 10, right? It really changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like plot goes, 1, 2, 3, skip to 10. You may not know what's happening, but at least it's good.
Right. That's
sounds like a fun Friday night.
Yeah.
Chris, tell us final thoughts. Where can people find you?
I thought it was a great movie. I didn't know much going in, and I think for anyone out there who hasn't watched the movie, it does such a good job at if you're not really into scary movies, it gives you almost like a sampler platter, right? You have jump scare moments, you have the supernatural aspect, you kind of have this like crime whodunit aspect of like who is the murderer, the kidnapper or whatnot, and then you also have like the eeriness of it. We talked a little bit about like the boogeyman under the bed, right? It has that aspect to it too. So it's kind of, if you don't really know what you like, this is a great movie for that. And layered on top of it, it's a really interesting story with great acting, and having all of those aspects is really tough. So I think it's a really balanced movie that keeps you hooked the whole time. And even if you think it's predictable, I think there's enough meat to it that will string you on to the very end. So I think they do a great job at closing it out, and has some really interesting characters, that's for sure. So I gave it a 4. Personally, would I watch it again? If I was recommending it to someone, I would. And I would watch it with them, but as far as like watching it just for myself, I wouldn't. I think it would be potentially a little boring, but that was pretty good. And yeah, you can find me everywhere at Milkman America.
Well, thank you for that, Chris. And before I give my final thoughts, I wanted to read to you guys some of the funniest I found reviews on Letterboxd. This person said, Evil Chappelle Row really jump scared me. Jesus Christ. I'm just glad we're seeing kids go outside again instead of being glued to their iPad screen. My favorite missing person in the movie was Pedro Pascal. During Q&A, Zach Krager was asked why the kids weren't in a T-pose. He basically just said, I don't know. I just thought it looked creepy. Unfathomably based. He says,
Wasn't Pedro Pascal supposed to be in this film?
I think he was supposed to be Josh Brolin's character.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
That would have been his 30th movie this year.
I heard that like there were a lot of different actors and actresses that were supposed to play a lot of the roles, but because there was like some sort of delay to making this film, that a lot of those people got committed to other films, and so they had to recast. Like what's his name, Benedict Wong. It was supposed to be somebody else. I think Josh Brolin's character was supposed to be Pedro Pascal. I think he can actually go online.
sometimes shit like that, when it works like that, it's probably for the better.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, no, I
I think they had a solid line of actors in this, and honestly, I feel like that's also what made the movie feel so as fresh as it is.
Dude, think about this. Die Hard was originally a movie based on a book that was going to star Frank Sinatra. But Frank Sinatra was like, I'm too old for this shit. Get somebody else. And then they rewrote it, and then it eventually became Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis. So,
And then that line ended up in Lethal Weapon.
oh really? That actually.
I'm too old for this shit.
Oh,
That line.
Yeah,
that's true.
that's funny.
Yeah, my
That's-
favorite Lethal Weapon, of course, is Lethal Weapon 5 with the guys from Sunny in Philadelphia. That's my favorite one.
And then Weapons is the sequel to all of those, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all set in the same universe. I'm glad that Julia Garner is going through her early 2000s Justin Timberlake, ramen noodle hairstyle phase. So good for her on that.
I found that very. I like her hair in this movie. She looked really cute.
Hey, she's coming up, man. She's doing a lot of stuff lately. I feel like, and she was in Fantastic Four with Pedro. So there you go. There's the connection there. But good for her doing more stuff. I'll read my review that I wrote on Letterboxd. Weapons is one of those rare horror movies that actually lives up to the hype. Directed by Zach Crager, starring Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Kerry Christopher, Benedict Wong, and Amy Madigan, the breakout character of this. This film blends sharp social commentary with genuine terror and pitch black humor. Told through multiple POVs, Weapons starts as a slow-burning mystery before unraveling into something much stranger and much more satisfying than you expect. Every reveal pulls you deeper into its twisted world until it all explodes in one of the most unforgettable climaxes you'll ever see in a horror movie. The scares hit when they should, the humor lands naturally without breaking the tension. Even the quieter moments have uneasy energy, as if something terrible is always just about to happen. It's clever, confident, and deeply unsettling in the best way. If there's one minor flaw, it's a small plot beat that feels a little bit too convenient, but honestly, it's a blip in an otherwise bold and unpredictable film. Weapons proves that great horror doesn't just have to rely on shock value. It has to dig under your skin and stay there. For our full thoughts on Weapons and how it fits into the modern horror landscape, check out the latest episode of the Never Seen It podcast, which is going to be this one, at neverseenitpodcast.com, wherever you get your podcast from. Yeah, I released my little quickie review on YouTube, and you know how many views that got? 0. YouTube was like, no, we're not doing this today for some reason. I don't know why, but you can watch that, and then until this comes out, you can listen to the full discussion. So that's the show, everybody. I want to thank everybody in the chat that was with us tonight. We didn't have Healing Laughter Power, sadly. My buddy Brian was in the chat. I have no idea what he's talking about. He wrote an entire novel in the chat tonight. I don't know what he's talking about, so I'm not even going to bother. But I thank him for being here. My uncle was in here. My uncle talked about Sicario, another great Josh Brolin movie. If you guys have not seen it, follow the Never Seen It podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, and X. Visit neverseenitpodcast.com. Email us, podcast.neverseenit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. What did you think about Weapons? What was your favorite moment? What was your favorite POV? Subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you like the show, leave us a review. Big thanks to Mr. Kyle Maps and the Burn Cycle for our intro and outro music. You can follow Kyle on Instagram at selfies_food_and_pets. He recently did a very funny thumbnail for The Crow, which I recommend to go check out. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks again to the chat that joined us tonight. Any final thoughts from the gentleman?
Take down all of your Ring cameras and go outside and run around a little bit.
Yeah, in the T-pose.
And find
the
a
T-pose.
branch and wrap a
Arms
string
wide
together.
open.